Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of The Kickout, the final word in professional wrestling. I am your host, the Wizard CZ. Of course, we are part of the Card Subject to Change podcast family on the For Frequency Sake podcast network, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook, Country Financial. I, of course, am not alone on this venture. Joining me, as always, with the Buccaneers hat on, supporting his favorite football team, Mr. Never Wrong, Nick Bull. Nick, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, CZ. How about yourself? What's cooking, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a decent weekend. Haven't done a whole lot, but got to see had a good weekend is what I'm trying to say. Haven't done a whole lot though. Just been working and doing my thing. What about you?
Same thing. I mean, I think, since that time change and the sun stays out a little bit longer, it just feels like spring is here. You can say it is on the calendar officially, sure, but it's in the air.
Yep.
It's been chillier the past couple of days, but spring is definitely here, and it definitely has people in a better mood of all things. But we're here to talk about wrestling. That's what this is about. You're here at the Kickout. I'm glad you found us. He's at the Wizard CZ. I'm at Nick Bull 55. Never Wrong. Nick Bull, that is me. CZ, what do you want to talk about?
Man, I was at the Destination 6 show this past weekend and was enjoying it. Was thinking about character evolution. Some people who have modified who they are, some people who haven't. I kind of want to talk about, just in general, the evolution of one's character in wrestling. I mean, obviously, knowing me as well as you do, my first go-to is going to be Chris Jericho. He always evolves with the time, whether it's a good evolution or not. Learning tree, bad. But he's always changing and evolving and bettering himself to stay relevant in the business. But the other example that I'll throw to is Triple H, who started off with the Connecticut Blue Blood gimmick and then slowly evolved into just another version of himself, a better version, or a more turned up version of who he actually is.
Yeah, those are both good examples. It's very hard because those both are just like, those are oddities in my opinion. Like, there's not going to be another Chris Jericho that comes through. I don't know if we'll ever see a guy that have the rise like he did and the behind the scenes clout now as a Triple H. So these guys, we're kind of dealing with dinosaurs here. Jericho's always had the ability to kind of be a chameleon in a good way and change with the times and keep himself updated. Jericho's no dummy. He knows he is an old man in a younger man's game. Not saying that there's not older people in wrestling, but Jericho is well into his 50s. His better years are behind him ring-wise, so he wants people to remember him for being on the entertaining side of things, and he's doing a pretty good job of that. He keeps himself relative. I think now he's the Nueve, since he's a 9-time world champ, since he's the current Ring of Honor world champion. So, and Jericho's a good example, but also maybe the rarity when it comes to it. Triple H, Triple H is one that you want to look at. Triple H, a lot of that was aided by marrying into the family. Don't get me wrong, but he paid his dues, from that the Connecticut Blue Blood, which yours truly seen him debut. Was at those Action Zone tapings back in the day, Mark and Moline. But Triple H is a unique one where he knew, the DX thing really, I think, changed Triple H for the better.
Yes.
Getting him And I'm talking DX after Shawn left. So post WrestleMania 14, after Shawn dropped the title to Stone Cold, and had to go and have back surgery. Excuse me. He, Triple H getting into that DX role, and being this fun group of anti-heroes going around and just acting childish and essentially is what it was, and it was over and everybody loved it and it was great. So Triple H showing that he could do that definitely helped his character out, but I wonder if it's a lost art, CZ. Like, you don't see it nearly as much anymore as you used to. Can you think of anything nowadays?
Oh, I mean, more recent, I could throw it to Damian Priest, who was, had the whole Archer of Infamy gimmick and kind of evolved into the Judgment Day Priest, and then who he is today. That'd be the first example I think of.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
What about MJF?
MJF?
I mean, his whole thing with Adam Cole, he had to change what he was doing a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, it was more lip service than anything. Like, it was over the top trying.
Right.
MJF is going to be a unique one because he's made a very he's known. Like, people know who MJF is, and people know what the MJF character is, and you wonder how long that character can go on the way that it is now. I'm sure it'll always be an original part of itself, but at the same time, you need to change all the time. Like, Diamond Dallas Page wasn't the same Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond Dallas Page at the beginning of his WCW run wasn't what he was as we know as DDP today.
That's very true.
So it's, I liken it to a snake shedding its skin, like constantly evolving. I think the business now, with social media and being such an impact and fans having such a direct influence, I think today maybe it's a little harder.
Would you put Cody in that picture?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, because like, we feel like his whole life has led up to this point, right? So this is the role that he was born to play, as this role he's in now.
Right.
What does that mean going forward? I don't know. Like, there's talks of maybe turning him a heel down the road or whatever. I don't know. I think the way he's being portrayed now in WWE is the way that fans would probably like to have him portrayed. I think fans really wanted to see this kind of run out of Cody and AEW. But remember, the first year of AEW, I believe Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks all signed agreements like none of them would be a champ. None of them would be a champion. None of them would have a belt. And he always took his name out of the heavyweight title picture. Maybe that held them back. Maybe Cody knew that there would be people saying, oh, you're just an EVP, that's why you're the champ. And he was smart. Maybe he was smart to remove himself from the title period and the title picture back then, because they had to make them, make other stars appear, make other stars as superstars. So yeah. Who knows? It's very interesting. But I wonder if it's harder now for wrestlers. I don't know. It's kind of, maybe it's a lost art. I don't know.
That very well could be, because, I mean, you look at, I'll throw an example. You're not going to like me too much for it, but I'll throw Seth Rollins out there. He's kind of had an evolution from the Shield to where he is now, but at the same time, he's kind of stuck where he's at.
But he's reinvented himself a few times.
Yeah.
You know, the whole sing my song thing, that's been a couple year reinvention, and the lavish out ring attire when he's on his way to the ring, that's kind of a reinvention. So I feel Rollins has always kind of been ahead of the curve in that aspect. Like, it hasn't passed him by. Like, he's always done a really good job of staying ahead of curve when it comes to that, when it comes to like character development and presentation and stuff. So I think he's a good example.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, that I don't know. It just something got my brain itching a little bit that it'd be a good topic to talk about. And here we are. We've spent the last 10 minutes talking about character evolution.
Right. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's going to have a different evolution depending on, you know, if you're over, if you're signed to a contract, how you're booked. How you're booked is a big deal with it, and
That's very true.
What the company sees in you, what the promoter sees in you, and how you're booked is definitely a huge set of factors in getting along with, you know, your character development and stuff. But yeah, we kind of peeled the layers off an onion here and kind of went down a deeper rabbit hole here on the Kickout. But we're glad you found us. We love talking wrestling. This is our short form show, which hits you midweek Wednesday as you're watching this. Of course, we are on Sundays on the Card Subject to Change podcast. That is our main gig. I guess this is our side gig, if you want to say, CZ. What is coming up on the next episode of the Card Subject to Change?
Well, we've actually got a really busy week coming up. I'll give a quick plug. Coming up after this show at the top of the hour, Zach Takis and I are back for our second episode of Wrestling with Fitness. But we've got a triple shot weekend this week. And Nick, I can already see the bags under your eyes forming just thinking about it. Saturday, we're going to be in Waterloo for Absolute Pro Wrestling, doing another pre-show podcast party. We'll be joined by Zach Takis and a few of the stars of Absolute Pro Wrestling. Sunday, we got invited to the Spring Card Show in Milan, Illinois at the Camden Center, just on the outskirts of Milan by the Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles. We're going to be doing a live there. And then for our regular show, we have another Black and Brave graduate coming on. He's prominent more in the Chicago area, but very much he's got a presence here as well, close by, and that is Nasty Nick Nolan will be coming on. We'll hear his story. So lots going on in the next few days here for us.
Very busy few days here coming up for the Card Subject Change podcast, but we're so glad you're along with us. We, of course, would be remiss if we did not mention our sponsors and how important they are to what we do here. We are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. If we don't catch you on the Kickout, catch us on the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. But this has been the Kickout, the final word in professional wrestling.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.